didn't even matter. But at the moment was like, oh my God, life is ending. I'm like, what do I do with this?
Hey, we're live.
Awesome.
You know what? I'm going to just put us in Brady Bunch style and keep
Yeah.
us there.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I am Udarro, psychic empath and psychic wrangler. And as you can see why I wrangled into the show today, because it's the four of us. And welcome to Third Eye Salon, where in each and every show, we take a fresh look between the veils of reality. Today is no different, but today we're looking between the veils of your reality with our live psychic readings. The lovely Susie Hansen was not able to make it. She was not feeling well, but don't worry, she'll be back with us in October. But I reached out to the crew last night and said, hey, why don't we just all get together and do a live reading? And everybody was instantly on it. Everybody's energy was all for it. So I'm very excited, and there's just so much energy for this. So thank you everyone for already being here in the live stream. It's so great that you're with us. I'm going to toss the mic to Ms. Lynda Colter-Bergh, psychic conscious business coach, and my bestie with the mostest. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm really happy to be here. And this is so exciting. Oh my gosh. I can tell you we're all on pins and needles. So lots coming through for us. And we're also, I'm going to admit, some of us are a little nervous just because this is new. And I'm really excited that we have Jason and Angela here. Kat's going to kind of explain what we're going to do. And I want you guys to think about questions that you have.
Absolutely. And also we're going to say, just to remind everybody to go ahead and share this out with other people if you haven't, just so we can get more people in the live stream. We do have all of our links below. If you'd like to donate to Third Eye Salon, especially if you get a lovely reading today, that would be awesome. Links are below. Join our Facebook group if you haven't already. And let's just check in first and say hello to Angela and Jason. How are you crazy kids doing? It's so awesome that you're in on this today.
Feeling good. Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Excited to endeavor to do something new live. Do it all the time, but to do it live in the moment with a group that I cannot see.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. So yeah, excited for what's to come.
Everything Angela just said, right? The pressure. Well, and I know that it's a self-imposed pressure, right? This pressure to perform, like to not let someone down. Like that some people really want to hear something, and it's that pressure that I think we all fight through. So I think it's a good time for us to show that it is possible to push through the fear, right? Because a lot of times that's what's stopping people in their own journeys. So always a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to be a part of it.
I just want to say real quick that we're all in alignment because we're all color coordinated, but that was unplanned. Yeah,
the three of you are
all of one mind. Well, Lynda has on purple and black, and you have on black, so it's still color coordinated. Right?
Well, and mine's
Kat's underwear is purple.
Yes, it is. I showed everybody before we started. It was a very special moment. All right, so I'm going to kind of go over, not really ground rules, but just kind of, there were some ideas that we thought we wanted to toss out there to everybody so you understood how we're going to do this. So when we get a question in, just put like a big question mark in the live stream chat, put your question in, and then all four of us will respond to it. And that way you don't have to worry about who you're going to pick to do your reading. It's like we'll all give what we get from it, which sometimes those things may parallel, sometimes they might jet off in different directions. If that's the benefit of getting four different psychic perspectives. Be specific. The more specific you are in your question, the better, the more specific the answer. We're not fortune tellers, so we're sensing and reading that what we are picking up, but we're not here to tell you the winning lottery numbers. Sorry, so sorry, or or if you're gonna fall in love next week or whatever. We can only give you what we get. And on that note, drop expectations. That's the thing that always gets me when I go into a reading. if I have expectations, I start to wilt during the reading because I've come in wanting them to pick up something specific, and it's like, and it's not really fair to anyone. So if you can drop expectations the best you can, that's awesome. Be open. No chewing gum, no public nudity, unless Jason needs to eye his pendulum, and then we'll allow that. And then thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up if you're having a good time, if you're enjoying us, and if you're enjoying what's happening today. All right. And then on that note, did we want to maybe discuss how we do what we do, and how maybe we're different? Or what were you saying, Lynda? You had a good idea.
So I thought maybe we could talk a little bit, because we all have experienced the thoughts that, gosh, I don't do it that way. I think maybe I'm doing it wrong, or they must be so much better because I don't hear stuff, and have those different thoughts of our own personal inadequacies as we're learning what our gifts are. And so I thought maybe each of us could talk a little bit about it, because I know every one of us does it differently. And I just really want to have you feel comfortable in exploring your own and determining what yours is like. So I guess I'll get started. And for me, one of the ways I'm clairaudient. Sometimes I actually visually see things. I also, when I'm sitting with someone, I haven't done it long distance. Actually, I've done it once, but usually it's when I'm right next to someone, I can physically feel what's happening with them. I also use a pendulum a lot in my work, and I use it a little bit differently than probably you've seen it done. And I don't know if I'll demonstrate that tonight or not, but it's taken me years to kind of figure out that all those things happen for me in different ways at different times. So that's mine.
Yeah.
Kat, you want to go next?
Sure. I call myself a psychic empath because I feel like I tend to feel things first, and then from the feeling, the other content comes in, and I'll see things clairvoyantly inside of my head. I'll it will start to, images will pop out that will expand or explain what I'm feeling, and then the more I tune in, then the more the clairvoyance comes in. And did I say clairaudient? I'm not. I'm a little bit clairaudient. And then what's the other thing? I guess clear cognizance. So I'm somebody who, I'll know something, but to me it doesn't feel like, oh, I've got a psychic knowing right now. It just feels like common sense. So I'll say something and somebody else will be astonished that I knew that. And I was like, oh, to me, it just seemed normal to me. It didn't feel like anything like I was efforting on or picking up per se. But generally, I start to pick up people's energy, their feeling, and then the content starts coming through, that channel starts to open up and stuff starts to come through. I'll toss it over to the lovely Angela.
For myself, it's a little bit different. For me, it's more visceral. I feel it in my body. I feel the energy in my body. So I connect with it in that way. If I'm meeting with someone, I typically tap in with my team. And there's a claircognizant knowing, I guess, in that space, that clairvoyant seeing, I guess. And I tap in with their team and I kind of collaborate. We kind of collaborate in that way to bring through what they need to know the most. As far as keeping track as I go throughout a session, I automatic write. That's something I started very early when I first started to open up. And that's one of the ways my guides will give me something. Like if they're giving me something so fast or too fast, it's one of the ways that I'm able to slow it down so that I can receive, like really receive it. In the space of feeling it in a visceral way, if I'm asking questions, my body will move, my head will nod, my body will give an acknowledgement of what's being shared. So I can kind of confirm things with my body, whether it's a nodding of yes or no, or maybe, or just movement. I can move in that way. And then just feeling the energy, being clairsentient, feeling the energy. So I can feel the energy that's coming into the space, what needs to be channeled to the person on the other side. And most of the people I meet with are through Zoom. Rarely am I meeting with somebody in the same space. So I'm feeling that energy. I can feel it as if that person is seated directly in front of me, like as if I am touching that person, or if they needed to be laid out, as if they were laying on a table. I would perceive their energy laying in front of me, and then I can do that energetic work in that space, move the energy where it needs to be moved. But that's kind of how I feel. Yeah.
And you should see Angela when we're doing shows, like when she's not on the camera, the main thing, she'll be moving, and I'll ask a question to the guest, and she'll be like she'll be moving yes or no to it before they even answer. Then they answer like in accord to what she just picked up. It's very interesting to watch.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Jason.
This is a tough question because it's one of those things where how do you do what you do when you don't know, you just do it. Right. And I have an issue. I kind of almost have an issue with this question because I feel like it in the mainstream material that most people are watching, it paints this picture of it has to be this way, this way, this way, this way. It has to be clairvoyant, clairaudient. It has to be this, you're one or the other. When in my experience, I feel like mine work together the same way that my normal senses work and engaging in my physical life. It all works the same. I'll catch myself saying sometimes, oh, I feel this way, right? I'm feeling it. Or, oh, you know what? I know his name is this. I know it, right? Or, why am I seeing the color blue? Or, oh, did I just hear that? Like when I'm interacting with the energy, I recognize myself moving in and out of the different ways of connecting because of the way that I'm thinking or the things that I'll say to myself or when I'm engaging and like talking out loud. Like, I feel like if you can pay attention to that kind of self speak, and you're going to find one or two that you're probably really, really, really strong at, but we use all of it together. So, they say that you can't like spot train on the body with working out. You can't spot train this because it all works together, right? It's a simultaneous experience. So for me, in the past, I've done it over the internet, but I typically can at least see your name, your question. I can see your responses in real time. I don't have that at the moment, but most of my engagement is face to face. Like I'm not doing professional paid for readings. That is not where I'm at right now. I don't want the pressure of it. I would rather it happen more organically. So for me, I'm typically out in public when I approach someone. And it's a push. For me, it's like, I cannot keep my eyes off this person. Why are they drawing my attention over there? And then I start paying attention to the little things. Like, did I just hear this thought? Did I hear this name? Is my body reacting in a certain way? Like, do I feel pressure somewhere? Do I feel happy? Do I feel sad? Is this their energy that I'm feeling? Is it someone else's energy that's connected to their energy that I'm feeling? Like, there's just a knowingness when it happens, right? But I recognize when it is happening. And I absolutely can be like, no, I'm not going to go over there, or I can choose to engage. I will say that have been times where I'm like, I don't feel like it. And they're like, you think that you don't feel like it, but we're going to we're just not going to leave you. It's just, you just can't help it. It's this drive to go and share what you're getting. So that typically for me is how it happens. Is these spur of the moment, happen naturally type things.
Teresa Caputo.
I prefer Monica. I prefer Monica, the medium
approach. Okay.
Just because how she'll be like, and her friend, like when she's out with her friends, they'll be like, oh shit, she's got that look on her face, or you know what I'm saying? She keeps staring over there. because that's how it is for my circle. You know, like my group, my friend Russell the other day, he was like, I can't go out with you anymore. He was like, I felt ignored the entire night. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, because I was just, it was one after the other. And I get it, but I couldn't help it. And I told him, I was like, Russell, I was like, look, I'm doing the Lord's work. I just, I'm messing with him. I'm doing the Lord's work. I can't help it. But I'm excited to share any and everything that I get. I'm brutally honest. So I will tell you that. If don't ask a question if you're not expecting a real answer, right? Because I feel like even my team is very straightforward, and that's just my language. It's just how I am. So that's the way that they give it to me. That doesn't mean I'm going to be vulgar, but sometimes we need that little slap in the face of like, hey, like you keep the whole turn the mirror, look at yourself in the mirror, like who's responsible, right? Like take that look. I feel like I'm just gonna. I'm gonna just start. I'm on my soapbox because I've got so much energy around me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I just wanted to point out real quick that Jason made a valid point that like when you are doing a reading for someone, you are tapping into all those psychic senses, all those intuitive senses. It's not just one. There may be one that's dominant, but you are essentially tapping into all of those. So as you get more practiced as a person who is tapped in, you are able to delve into all of those realms. You are doing it anyway, but there is typically one or more that's more dominant than the others. Senses. Yeah.
all right. Is there anything else that we want to say, or should we go ahead and just get going?
I do have a question.
Okay.
There are 4 of us, right?
Yes.
So there are 4 different what if, because I know how I feel about it. So I'm just wondering what your 3 opinions are on. So let's say somebody asks a question and we give 4 completely different answers. What's your take on that?
I think that's valid. We all hold different perspectives. It's like every person, the human collective is a diamond. Each person is a different facet of that diamond in relationship to the source. So we all have a different view, and it's really valid for us to all have a different perspective from our perspective of the source, from where we sit in relationship to source. So I think that's a good thing to have.
And I asked it because if someone gets 4 different answers, right, I wanted them to understand that, like Andrew said, we're 4 different vantage points, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? There could be 4 different possibilities, right. And each of us is picking up on one. So I kind of wanted to bring that up and address it first, because I didn't want someone to be discouraged if they're like, well, I don't know what my answer is, because they all told me something different, right? You can think of them as potentials.
We had I had a group, a psychics group about 10 years ago. It's actually where me and Lynda worked together a lot. And sometimes we would have very diverse answers, but it's like, well, this is, from one choice, this is another choice. And there's just nothing wrong with going either way. Just go the way that works best for you. I was going to say, what was the thought about, go ahead, Lynda.
Yeah, I was just going to add something that we talked about when we were in our group.
Okay.
It was a great analogy for me. It's the old, the wise men feeling an elephant and all coming up with it, because they're all looking from different direction and they're all bringing in the whole picture of the elephant. So we're coming at it from different directions.
Oh, here's what I was thinking too. So when somebody asks a question, as opposed to them just asking a question, and it's like, Jason, go. It's like, we'll just take a minute to hold the question. So if you just see us kind of chilling here for a minute, it's because we're tuning in. So that way there's no pressure for anyone to, and kind of whoever is getting something first can go first. Does that feel like a nice natural flow?
Yeah.
All right. Making it up as we go along. All right. So then with that, unless there's any other reason to not, let's go ahead and get some questions going. And I saw several people, Lynda put the question out there, people would like, okay. Questions, or if you'd like to, and we've got a ton of yeses. So I do see a question already that was marked. If you can put 2 question marks before your question, that will help us find it. So this is Suzanne's question. She asks, will that feed yard manager who stole those cattle go to prison, or at least get his butt kicked by some pissed off ranchers? And will I have to testify against him, or am I just finally done? All right, so that's kind of I'll read that through again. So this is Suzanne. She's got a situation with somebody who was not on the up and up. Will that feed yard manager, so there's a feed yard manager who stole those cattle, go to prison, or at least get his butt kicked by some pissed off ranchers? And there's the second question. And will I have to testify against him, or am I just finally done?
I immediately heard no. Not going to go to jail. I'm not going to have to testify. Like,
The whole thing, no?
yeah, right from the start. That doesn't mean that there may not be accountability to be held in the future, but it is not for this. Right? And we're in regards to that person. Like, this is like, no.
I'll say it in terms of what I'm getting is the energy of what did you learn from this? Like, this is more about, as opposed to your vision being split on wanting justice, and that's very fair. That's totally valid. It's more like, what was the gift from this? What did you learn from this? So as opposed to it's something that has to be balanced out, you can balance it within yourself by saying, what's my takeaway? What did I learn? What are my new boundaries? What are my new red flags? So this feels like it's an empowerment moment, as opposed to justice being met at this particular time, at least. Like, that's not for you too much to worry about. It's for you to like pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and be like, this is what I got from it. I'm stronger, I'm better, and move forward.
So I'll say, as far as the person who committed whatever they committed, that's not her concern. That's a non-concern. That's a non-issue for her in this case. But on some level, there is a desire to want to see justice served. There's a desire to want to testify, even though consciously there is a want not to testify. But on some level, there is a desire to have that experience of going down that road of endeavoring to see justice served for whatever reason. It's like a resonance with having experienced it before, a resonance with having a similar experience, or being on the other side of the experience. Yeah, it comes through in light codes. There's a connection with a past aspect of self, not necessarily past, but maybe a parallel aspect of self that's been on the other side of this scene. Because we repeat scenes, we live scenes through many lives. We play many different actors in relationship to this scene. And so there's a connectedness to having been on the other side, the side of the one who committed the incident, to see different perspectives. Yeah. So while in this life, there is a desire not to engage, there's another aspect of self that desires to engage in order to level set what's been carried into this incarnation in terms of I guess you could equate it to like a trauma, past life memory that needs to be resolved through this incident.
And Suzanne already has a lot of feedback from me on this one. So, but I did get from the pendulum, which I don't usually have with me when we talk, that I changed the question a little bit into this incident because I kept getting asked it a different way. And so when I asked this incident, I'm getting a strong no. I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah, I'm getting in this incident a no. However, I did ask if in the future he was going to get his comeuppance on a different incident, and I got yes. Here it goes again. So perhaps, you know, I just keep getting that when he can get away with it, he's going to continue till he can't. And we've kind of discussed that before. But I also was again getting look for the gifts. Look for the gifts of the incident. Look for the gifts of the experience. They will strengthen you and give you insight. And that's come through several times for us.
That's great. All right. I think that was great. My 2 cents. All right, I'm going to go down through the list and I'm just going to hit questions as I see them. And this is great. Thank you, everyone, we had no idea what was going to happen today. It was going to be just the 4 of us hanging out. So this is great. So Charlene Williams asks, is there a guide coming through with anything? So that's a very wide question. Is there a guide coming through with anything? Thoughts on Thoth being near and being my guide. So it sounds like Charlene Williams is asking if Thoth is near her and if that's one of her guides, and if there is a guide coming through with any particular messages at this time.
You said her name was Charlene?
Charlene Williams.
Okay. I don't want to jump the gun, and if someone is ready to go, but I immediately wanted to share. So when you have, so my perspective and what I'm feeling in this moment, right? When you have those type figures like Thoth, think of it in the same sense as like Buddha or Jesus. It's these super popular figures that are these archetypes and that are assisting with hundreds and thousands and millions of people every second of the day. So if your energy is drawn to that deity or that energy and it's something you feel connected to, then I would absolutely 1,000% say yes, their energy is working with you. 1,000%. I think that answers the first part of the question, and I'm going to leave it there for the moment.
I would say this energy is open to her and to the degree that she is willing and open to receiving that energy, to operate from that level of frequency, that resonant plane. We are all connected. We are all energy. Everything is but energy. So it comes down to a matter of choice, a matter of preference. You have ability to choose to tap into that which you seek to connect with So it's a matter of operating from that vibratory level of resonance. And whomever it be, whether it be Thoth or Jesus or Buddha or whomever, you have the free will to tap into whomever you choose. Yeah. All are available. All is energy.
I'm actually getting that
go ahead.
it's the messages come through symbols to you, to watch for these symbols when you are in alignment. And the symbol that I keep seeing, which I'm not sure why, but I keep seeing a butterfly. And for some reason, there's a significance of a butterfly landing on a window or a clear pane. But that this particular is more in symbology for you, and that you're going to know what that is, but also don't limit it to that. So one of the things that we tend to do is predetermine how it's supposed to show up. This is one of the ways it shows up as messages. And I hear be still.
Is it okay to hop in, Lynda?
Go ahead.
Okay. If you have anything else, I can wait.
That's it.
No? Okay. All right. So this is a card that I drew. I thought was significant to share. If you can see that. So there's definitely a guide showing up here. And then there's the person down here holding this beautiful, it's like a blooming light. So for me, what I'm getting from that vibe is that, well, I do get an Egyptian vibe from you. I would say to check out Sekhmet. Like, I feel like there would be a good time for you and Sekhmet together, honestly. She feels like really close. Like, I'm right here, thoughts, whatever. Like, I'm right here. It feels like you've got something that you want to give out into the world, but there's a lot of like qualifying it around it for you, where it's like, oh, well, that's just really for me. Well, that's nice, but that's just, it's just mine. And I feel like this guide that's coming in from the above is saying, I've got it with you. Like we can bring it out into the world, as opposed to just sitting on the riverbank and holding back. Like you can put your feet into the water and you can start to give what you've got out into the world, whether it's a specific project or it's a specific something it feels like there's a qualification around it that allows you to keep it held within or held close. And it doesn't give you that full expression because you think it's not ready yet, or there's not a qualification. It doesn't qualify as good enough yet. And it's like, it actually is ready. Just we'll hold your hands, we'll do it with you. So that's the vibe that I got. Anything else on that before we move on from Charlene's?
I totally second the, if you're looking for an energy to connect to, Sekhmet is a very, very cool and strong energy to connect to.
Yeah, she's very available.
And I'm also, I pulled a card,
Yeah.
and I got moving on. And for me, and of course, there's like all these little, you can't see them, they're leaves, but they almost look like butterflies hanging around. But for me, that when I was seeing that, it was that you're looking for external validation for an internal decision that you're making. And I felt a strong pull at my heart that the answer's within.
I did get that Thoth is with her. Thoth is near. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. All right, so we'll go to our next D. Matthews. I think it's Deb. D. Matthews in Vegas all last week took photos of clouds. Yeah, that's Deb. And saw oblong cloud in front of a huge cloud. And another photo was 5 with 5 decibel lights.
Double lights.
Double. It's like decibel. 5 double lights. Do you know which star beings they may have been? So if that was, I'll just read that again. I don't want any qualifiers. In Las Vegas all last week, took photos of clouds and saw oblong cloud in front of huge cloud. And another photo was 5 double lights. Do you know which star beings they may have been? Thanks.
So that's it.
I got Zeta in observation. Yeah.
Did you say zetas?
Yeah.
Like the small grays?
Yeah.
So this is one of the
tall whites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was waiting for somebody to say it.
Yeah.
I was waiting for somebody to say it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'll just pop in real quick because the card that I drew is the card that it's this big snake sitting next to a person kind of in meditation with their crown chakra all the way open. So to me, that speaks to me of like wanting to communication. I just feel like there's a sense of like communicate, and a sense of DNA with this snake. That's just what I'm getting. So take that for what you will.
I've been sitting here doodling, right? You may not be able to see it. Can you see?
Oh yeah, there's totally a serpent.
You see this snake right here?
Oh yeah.
So my first immediate thought was tall white, and I'm going to explain why also. There is a gentleman, I'm not sure if I can say his name, so I'm not going to, but he wrote some books. And at one point he was based out of, because I was trying to think, I was like, oh, it sounds like this. It's like Ferris, or it's I think it's Nellis Air Base. It's either Ellis with an E or with an N, like Nellis. I think it's Nellis. But he interacted with the tall whites. So they're these paper white skin, white hair, blue eyes. And typically their ships are, they kind of glow. So they're like egg shaped, but they do have other various shapes. So when you hear me talk about my quote unquote, my tall white Ben is a part of that group in the mountains near the Nellis. I think it's Nellis airfield, something like that. But definitely tall white. But they also were like, there's multiple. So it was the tall white and the small gray, which Angela referred to as the Zeta. So like the Zeta Reticuli, like that. But absolutely those two.
And because I suck at identifying these, what I chose to do was just let the pendulum give confirmation or perhaps close, and it gave confirmation on both. So when it goes back and forth this way, it's a yes.
Is that a double C confirmation,
No.
Lynda?
This is a double C confirmation if it was longer. So when it bounces off of me, it's a double C confirmation.
Off her bosom.
I feel like that took me way too long to get.
Me
The camera is not low enough to have double C confirmation, so I had to shorten the strand.
I also got to make clear to Deb that she has a resonant aspect that's there. That's why she was able to see. That's why she's been able to see or capture that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that feel complete?
Yeah.
I just heard will happen more.
Yeah,
It'll
because
happen.
they're
Yeah.
physical beings that are physically here.
Yeah.
This is not an energetic thing. The ship may look like it's moving energetically, but these are 3D, like, oh, they're not really 3D, but they're in these physical bodies to where we could touch them if they were standing next to. This isn't an astral projection. This is a physical being in a physical craft that you're interacting with, right? So interact with it. Like when you see it, send a thought up. Be like, hey, I see you. I recognize you. Can you do this for me? Not that it's a dog and pony show, but just to establish, hey, if that's really you, can you move up, or can you move to the right, or can you blink? Like, start energetically engaging with it, and it will definitely continue happening.
Yeah, I got that too, where there's a desire for more connection, like be open yourself, you know, from the open crown chakra in the image I was looking at.
I almost feel like, I'm sorry, I'm just going to word vomit. I almost feel like she's had interaction. I'm not saying like she's been abducted, but I feel like, because I see them around her bed, like standing around her bed.
I said that there's an aspect of her with them, so there's an aspect of her.
And it's not being taken against my will. Like, this is like no harm is coming to me, but there's this interaction that's happening, because I see at least 5, 2 on each side and then 1 at the foot.
It's like family.
But it's like they're getting, like, she's been, she has reached out and touched, right, like physical. She's had that experience.
Nice. That was beautiful. Okay, I'm going to move on unless someone stops me. Okay, so forgive me if I pronounce your name incorrectly. It's Chaley, so Chally or Shally, I'm not sure. Chaley. The question, what do the energies around my love life look this month, please? So Chally is asking.
Can I say something real fast?
Yeah.
I just want to say, be mindful of questions that you ask, and if you are really wanting to hear the answer.
Do you want to know the truth?
Not to say, gloom and doom, but like, just don't get mad. Don't get mad after the fact.
Okay, I'm gonna be that one to piggyback on Jason. Sometimes there's a desire to hear what we want to hear in relationship to the things that we desire to have within our space. But in this instance, I'm hearing a call to go within, for there is work to be done on the self. And it's, the way I'll describe it is that the world outside of us is reflective of the world inside of us. So we have to establish that connectedness to self, that self-love within first, in order to receive something that will not be frivolous and will be lasting. within one's life. If you want it to be stable and present for the long haul, then there is a level of work that has to be done on the self first. There has to be an establishment of self-love, self-appreciation, self-acceptance, non-judgment. All of these things have to be established within the self first before it can be reflected outside of the self, before it can be experienced outside of the self. So the foundation has to be laid first. So what I am receiving is that there is a level of work that needs to be done on the self first. There is a laying of the foundation, as in the same way you would build a house. There is a level of work that needs to be established first. Then brick by brick, you can build up that house and see it reflected outside of you. But it's not going to happen in the way that you sincerely and honestly desire for it to happen outside of the self until the work is done within the self. Yeah.
And I wrote down relationship with self before,
Yeah.
right at the beginning. And I kept getting, if it goes in a circle, it's saying, ask a different question, ask a different way. So the question that you want, hang on. So I'm getting, there's a void that you're trying to fill.
Yeah. I got two. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying it's already there.
I've got two here. I've got one big, one small. So it's like an inner child and then a guide who's present. And both of them are saying you got to do the work. You're trying to feel the self, and Lynda said it perfectly, void. You're trying to fill an internal void with something that's external. But you have to realize that you already are everything that you seek outside the self. There's a need to clear those limiting beliefs that are preventing you from seeing that you already are that internally, from receiving that internally. But that's the work, that's where the work is before the relationship can be reflected outside of itself. Yeah.
I'll hop in just real quick. It mirrors what everybody else has said. It's a woman carrying a bowl of water, walking through woods. It's work. Like when I tune into this card, I mean, my sense initially was that there's somebody in your picture right now where you're like, oh, he's interesting. Oh, there might be something there. He seems like he's potential somebody, but by the end of the month, he's gone. And it's like, oh, he's gone too. Like he's someone shows up and it looks like they're a spark, but then they just are gone, and it's like it never happened is what I feel. Yeah. And so it's like, but there's that thing of like, oh, it could be this one this time, this guy this time. And with this image, it is this thing of like, it's like whenever I draw that card for myself, it's like you're gonna have to walk through. She's carrying a thing of water. She has to be mindful, right? She's doing something where it's not. She's not at the beach with a margarita. She's being very mindful. She's having to push through and chop wood, carry water, do the work. And I feel like there's a level of grief. There's a level of grief that until you express it, it's like you're looking for someone to make the sad go away. And so that can't, like, you are, that's where the love comes in and says, oh, but you're already loved. You're already loved. And that's the work. And when that void or that disconnection is resolved, then there's room for something else because you're complete. But otherwise, it's like looking for someone to take that part away that your dad did or whoever did. And they're not going to be able to do that because it's actually your empowerment.
And I'm feeling great joy after, that process. As
It's a relief.
Open up, yeah, that as you find that deepness and release, there's a release. It's like this just a deep breath of a heavy burden being lifted, like just and I heard, oh, is that all? Like, that's it? Oh, cool.
I wanted to comment on the card that you pulled, Kat. And I always love too how different people interpret cards differently, right? Because they're using their right. So for me, water always equals emotion. So you make this point, right? She's working hard. She's carrying this big, heavy burden, but she's also having to do this balancing act and watch her step, because otherwise my emotions, the water, right, it's sloshing out. So it's like these violent outpourings of emotion, which eventually leave you drained, right? Because now the bowl is empty. And I have a comment that I'm going to make, but I want to ask Angela a question first, because I feel like if I was this person asking the question, I would want this as a follow-up. If I was to say that I completely understand that I need to connect to my own self-love, what are some steps? What are maybe 3 tangible things that I can do to start that process?
Great question.
Okay. Let's see how to articulate it, because I have those.
Not to put you on the spot.
Child is right here, like it's still talking to me. We're doing this work on the heart and the throat chakra, on her heart and throat chakra. Okay. So most issues stem from 3 things. I learned this from a great friend. 3 things, and it's worked with every client I've ever worked with. I start with these 3 things. Those 3 things are trust, self-worth, and control. These 3 things are the root of most issues that we come across, right? And so as a practice, if you are triggered or you find yourself feeling down about something, you can ask yourself, that soul aspect of you who's animating this physical, you're interacting with the self from the soul level for as a way of viewing this, right? So you're going to ask yourself, do I have an issue with trust? And you're going to get a response. And if you get a yes, you're going to say, well, where did that come from? Is that in this lifetime or a previous lifetime, right? And then you get the response. And you say, well, how old was I? And you get a response to that. And so then you ask, is this something I need to review? Is this a situation that I need to review? And 99 times out of 100, right, you're going to get a mental image of something, some memory of you with a tie to this particular aspect, this particular thing, this trust, self-worth, or control. What you are essentially doing is honing in on the source of where you picked up or established this limiting belief of self. Once you've honed in on this aspect or this situation that occurred where you picked up this issue, and you are going to surround that aspect of you with love in whatever form you choose. So typically I choose a white light with golden and pink sparkles or something like that, where you just surrounding this version of you with love. And from your now perspective, because you're older now, right, you have a clearer perspective of what actually happened, what lessons you actually learned having experienced that particular thing, which would be the blessing out of it. You can sit and explain to that younger version of yourself what was really going on. Because really that younger version of you developed a perspective that was limited based on their limited space of being, the limited life, the limited perspective they held at the time. So you are basically expanding their perspective of what really happened. In doing that, you are seeing through the eyes of love, explaining to them this situation through the eyes of love. And in doing so, you essentially change history. You change every aspect, every structure that person, that version of you has built upon that limited perception of self. You are changing all of that and reestablishing a now version of you based on the truth as you know it to now be. So you aren't building off of what was previously done. This is reframing the belief and dissolving all the structures that were built upon that limited perspective of self, and now seeing it through the eyes of love and having that filter from then forward through all time and space. Anything that's been built on that misperception of self is now re-seen through the eyes of love, because you have essentially talked to that previous version of you, that other version of you, and changed that perception of self, which will filter into real time, into the present. And it's like you are made new and it's dropped away. Yeah. Does that make sense? Did I explain that? Well,
No, I think that's good. And I would say to maybe we've got everyone's links down below. So if you wanted to work with Angela, she's already working with your higher self or with your inner child.
yeah.
So you might want to maybe reach out to her for some more direct work.
Yeah.
And I do want to comment also. I will say I pulled a card from the Rebel deck. So I told you how there are like 4 good cards in here, and the rest of them are like, it's your fucking fault, you're messing this up. But this one says, you are loved. This is a good one. This is like one of the 4 good ones. It said, well, they're all great, but this says, you are loved. And then it says, you are here for a reason. Don't fuck it up. Okay. There's also this feeling of this older lady in spirit. She is short. She has dark salt and pepper hair, but more pepper than salt. Short, kind of curly. She is short. She is super like stubborn, super sassy. I feel like she also has a sister that's in spirit. The sister is going to be younger. There's a connection to, there's this AN sound. So I don't know if someone, and there's also an SAN sound. There's this like san type sound that I want to talk about. But when you asked about it, she said, this is still going on. Like, why are we even focusing on not to say that we don't. I hope that you have an everlasting princess marriage and relationship. But very much this lady's persona, like I said, she's very straight to the point. She's like, we're still worried about this. Like, isn't this already over and done with? Whatever this, whether it's an emotional experience or whether it's an actual relationship or the one to be in, there's something about this energy. She's just like, look, this is done. Like, why are we still focusing on this? And she is ready to, let's move past, right? Like, let's take the next steps. Let's work through this and however we have to. But she very much just feels like she is over it. In the most loving way, because it's not for your best interest, right? And she can see the bigger picture and not just what we're looking at. With that being said, you have free will to make your own choices, right? I'm just telling you the impression that I'm getting from this lady's energy.
Okay. Anything else, Miss Lynda? Do you have anything? Or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Thank you so
Any
much.
confirmation on all of that, as you can see.
Yeah, we can see that.
And it just stopped. So
I'm just gonna say, lots of work in the heart. The inner child is saying, we need a lot of love. We need a lot of love. And there are a lot of blocks that have been built up in front of the heart. And so there is a call from the inner child to clear those blocks, because we need love. That's what she's saying. We need love. Yeah.
And can I say this too, as kind of like a tip, and it may sound stupid, but I just thought of it randomly. For some of us that maybe are visual people that need something to look at, some people make vision boards, right? This is where I want to be in 10 years. Like when Angela was talking about, finding peace and self-love and surrounding herself in white light with gold and flecks of pink, right? Because those energies and those colors make her feel at home. They make her feel rested. They make her feel protected and loved and cherished. And they make her feel that, you know, she recognizes her power when she has those colors. Take an old picture of yourself, cut yourself out of the picture, go get some glitter foam board and cut out some aura rings and put yourself in it, right? So you have a visual. Sometimes it's easier if we have something to look at to visualize it. And, you know, depending on how you're feeling one day, you change it out, change the colors out, right? Sometimes the act of a ritual or putting energy into an act or a thought can really help shift the energy of the moment. So if you are having a hard time visualizing that, or just feel like you need an extra boost or want to feel in control of your emotions or the day or the situation, have like the paper doll. You remember like the old paper dolls that people would cut out, and then like you would change the outfit on it. You can change the light that's around you. I feel like I need to write a book. That was great.
It's okay. It's all good. I'm going to keep going though, because we got a lot of questions. So I want to, I think hopefully that was useful. And again, it's always, it's a bummer when people say, oh, more self-work, but it's like, as long as you're in a body, more self-work.
One last thing, Kat, I was
Yep.
getting lots and lots of times, look into the emotion code
Okay.
and look at that work. That's a definite thing to find the source and release it.
Okay. Emotion code.
Mhm.
If you don't know what that is, come into our Facebook group and we'll talk to you about it, or email us. All right. So Steph D. Simmons is asking, do you see a home purchase for me? I just put in an offer. So I'll tell you that again. It's Steph D. Simmons. Do you see a home purchase for me? I just put an offer in.
So I'm getting yes. I asked if there was any bumps or anything. I was not getting any bumps in the process. Asked if there were other alternatives coming through, and it was, as it does again, it's going in a circle. So that's not the right question to ask. So
I love that you said that, because I also got an immediate yes. So I'm right there with Lynda, but followed by the yes, they were, whoever this energy is that I'm interacting with, they were almost kind of poking fun at the question of, will I be a homeowner? Yeah. When? Is it with this interaction?
Right.
Is this bid gonna go through? They're like, yes, like you will be a homeowner. Like he's making kind of fun. He's like, yes, you will be a homeowner. I will say also, similar to Lynda, like I feel very kind of smooth sailing, but I also feel like there's something about a second. So whether this is
that's what
either, if this is not your second house that you've put the bid on, I feel like there's an option for a second choice, or it's something about having to put in a second bid. Like you bid, somebody else bids, and then you have to go back. There's something about a second. I'm just not sure where that falls. But yes, you will be a homeowner.
I was getting that too. I mean, as you were talking, it was like a double C confirmation on perhaps somebody else coming in. and bidding. It was because I asked if it was a second house, and it was a no, asking the wrong question.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I got, and it took a while. I didn't get a definitive yes. I got more of a this is an opportunity. This is like, we won't give you a direct response. This is an opportunity for you to establish within yourself your ability to create that which you wish to manifest. So it's setting your intention toward that which you desire to have. Yes, you will eventually be a homeowner. It may not be with this particular property that you put the bid on, but it's an opportunity for you to settle and direct your energies toward that which you want to have. So in doing so, there's a confidence, there's like a confidence in saying, I put this bid in, this is my house. I don't have to put the bid in and say, am I gonna get this house? Ooh, I hope I get this house. I put this bid in, I hope it comes to me. There's a difference in saying, I'm putting this bid in because this is my house. I'm declaring it, I'm making it known. I am receiving it and drawing it unto myself. Law of attraction, I'm bringing it to me now versus saying, ooh, I hope this is my house. So there is a call to learn or embrace your power, your ability to operate from the space of knowing this is mine versus hoping this may come to me. This may be mine. It's a call to stand in your power. I was instructed not to give you a direct response because there is no direct response. It's a matter of you deciding what it is you desire to have and willing yourself toward that thing you desire to receive. So drawing it to you in that way, declaring it is mine. I'm putting the bid on it. That's a formality to what I am drawing unto myself. Yeah.
And right before Angela said that, I heard, how much do you want it?
Yeah.
I'll give you the cards. I drew this first card, and it really does mirror a lot of what Angela was saying. Again, it's kind of, we're like painting in all the corners of the picture from all four angles. But it was this. So if you can tell, I don't know, like this is a mouth. It's like ah, and then there's this head down here. There's this face, and there's a lot of spinning around. And so there's this. It's a sense of like that desire where you're like, I just want this to happen. You know what I mean? And it feels more chaotic and like a swirling energy. And my first sense, I'll tell you, was when you, as I was tuning in, is that like October felt more right for you. And more like that was when it was going to happen, that this initial one is kind of getting your foot in the door, but I felt like October being open. So anyhow, I pulled a second card. And this is a way different, like, look, this person is like joyful, they're reaching up, and look, the sun or the universe or whatever is smiling back down. So there's this thing of like, again, mirroring what's the energy you're putting out. Are you putting out, oh my God, I want the house? Or are you putting out like, oh, thank you, I love this new house that I'm getting? And you're in the flow of it, you're in the golden joy of it, and that just mirrors it right back to you. Like, this is one mirror, chaos for chaos. This is another mirror, joy for joy. All right, that's what I got. Any other final thoughts on that? Okay. All right. Remember, feel free to donate to Third Eye Salon if you're enjoying your time with us today. Okay, so Lynda Thompson asks, she says, I'm planning a trip out of the country next year. I'm wondering if it will lead to big changes in my life. Donation link is below. Lynda Thompson again is asking, I'm planning a trip out of country next year. I'm wondering if it will lead to big changes in my life.
First off, I got, do you want it to? Is that
right.
what you want? That's what you want? Is that what you want? If that is what you want, then that is what you will have if you direct your energies toward that thing. It's the same response as before, similar response. It's It's drawing yourself to that thing based on what you desire to receive, knowing it'll come to you if that is what you want, if that is the energy that you put forward. But that hoping, feeling, that place of want, I want, versus knowing it's coming to you because this is what you have set your intention on, drawing it to yourself.
I keep getting asked it a different way. So I think that it may be the generic part of that question.
Because I mean, technically it is what you make it.
Right.
But I think that there's a question about opportunity, or
I will say
I keep
this.
hearing there's a decision that will come from it.
It feels positive.
Decision.
They're right. Like it feels like overall a good time. Like I'm gonna enjoy myself. Like the life-changing part is what you do with it when you're there, when you're back. But it feels like a good trip. I'm not saying it's going to be a Lifetime movie, you know, where you go to Greece and then the prince who was acting as a fisherman that day comes and finds you. But I will tell you that there is this male energy that feels like an equal. So meaning for me, a lot of times they'll present themselves like above me to represent older, below me to be younger, you know, up and over could be like an aunt or an uncle. But typically when they stand to the side of me or they give me that impression, it's like an equal. So that could be a sibling, a cousin that's the same, like around the same age, a spouse, a partner. But there's this male energy that I just want to acknowledge that stands to the side of you, that very much feels like I'm going on this trip with you. It's almost like I'm planning this for you, or I had a major part in getting this planned. But yes, it feels like a great trip. It feels like a great vacation, like a vacation of a lifetime almost is kind of the feeling. Like I'm going to talk about it forever. What you choose to do with that kind of built up, pent up energy that you get, right? Whatever changes or choices you want to make, that is up to you. But I will tell you, there's a very positive feel. However you go, whatever choices you make, whatever directions you want to make, it feels very positive in relation to this trip and whoever this male energy is that's standing to the side of you like an equal.
And often
like he's got a mustache.
Often what I get is pretty cryptic. So I heard look around. Look around. So I think that's being an observation when you're there. Yeah, look around. Kat, do you have anything?
Yeah. So I picked this card. Hopefully you can see it. Okay. So we've got a head that's kind of detached from the body. So we've got the body and the head that's flying forward. And how this is feeling for me is that, you know, there's thinking about the trip and there's like, what can I do? What can happen on this trip? But it's like, put the head back on the body and be in the vibration of what you want to experience, as opposed to projecting it. That's going to do something for me. It's like, bring it into the body now. What am I experiencing right now? What energies of the trip can I bring into my life? What in my life can I bring to that trip? And stay in connection and don't get ahead of yourself. And then what I pulled after that card was this beautiful card. This person is looking inward. They're maybe opening up their chest. So there's a chance for some healing, for some inner looking, for some resolution. I feel like for you to come out of this where it feels like you've resolved some things, you put some periods at the end of some sentences for yourself, and there's a deepening for you and a letting go of some older stuff that was like, yeah, that just doesn't fit or match anymore. That's my vibe.
And with the first card, it was confirming something I was thinking just then that was coming through, which was observe who you are. So that's that stepping away from you in the experience and really paying attention to how you are responding. Observe who you are.
That's nice. Okay. Anything else? Jason, do you have to go ahead?
Yeah. This man that stands to my side like an equal, whether this is his name or this is somebody that is going to connect you to, there's got to be like the Robert, Rob, Bob, like that Robert, Bobby, Bob sound type name. I feel like there's also a reference to the month of June. Specifically, it's like the 4th or the 14th. So whether that month and those dates go together, or the month makes sense for something like a date of significance and the number part makes sense as a date of significance, there is this 4th, 14th reference I want to make, the Robert, Bob, Bobby type sound, and just reinforce. And if any of this makes sense, please put something in the post and comment. It is absolutely okay to say no. Okay, you can absolutely be like, no, I don't understand. And I may follow up with you and be like, hold on to it. Or, but any feedback that you can potentially give is great, right? It just lets us know, or lets me know that I'm on the right track and I'm interpreting how things feel. But again, I'm just good trip. He's going with you.
So this is somebody who's an energy as opposed to a. Okay.
Yeah. This is like someone that was in a physical life that has transitioned.
Okay. Just to make sure I understood that. We all understand that. Okay. Awesome. And again, Jason's contact information is down below if you want to get more with Jason on that. Okay. So now this is from, Kathy, please forgive me. I'm just going to do my best with your last name. Oh my gosh. I love me a Polish name. It seems like Polish, maybe around that vicinity. So Kathy Plocharski. Again, that's my best. Who or what was the Black figure that visited me when I was about 5 to 7 years old? So Kathy Plocharski, who or what was the Black figure that visited me when I was about 5 to 7 years old? I'll just pop in. With the card that I got, it's very beautiful. It's that almost makes me think of like Mother Mary type energy or Kuan Yin. So to me, that's just saying that it was nothing to be afraid of. It feels more like it was a check-in. To me, it feels like, a counterpart of yourself, and it was a check-in. And it's making sure that you're okay. That's my sense of it. And everyone else may go into a wildly different area, but that's just what I'll lead with that.
That kind of makes more sense to what I was picking up, because what I was picking up was an aspect of yourself processing your physical world.
Ooh. Like a reflection of herself, a portion of herself.
I almost want to be like, that's the best way I've ever heard a higher self described.
Yeah.
I can have two different reactions, because I feel like we're dealing with separate energies, at least two. I feel like there's the hallway shadow person that's connected to the house or the land. That's connected to the property, the physical. Then there's got to be some reference about seeing another type of shadow person, but this one I feel like goes in and out of a closet or like a and open up, think a big chest of drawers or something. It's something with clothes in it. That's like a closet that you would open up. I feel like the closet one, the one that interacted in the room, like the bedroom, I feel like as your person, how Kat was kind of referencing, the check-in, because of the interactions that you are having with the hallway shadow person. So like one stepping in to help with the exchange of the other one that's kind of just going around willy-nilly, right? Or energetically, because they may not be fully aware of what they're doing. They may just be going through the pattern.
Yeah.
Right. So one stepping in, it's like one there's absolutely a God female that steps in that was kind of shielding you from, because you're super sensitive, right? Like most people watching this are super sensitive and all have abilities and gifts and treasures yet to be found. But there's this empathy thing that I feel like I want to recognize. But what's weird is I don't necessarily feel a sense of fear. Like there might be a shock, like, oh shit, what was that? What am I looking at? But I don't feel scared, because the intent of the hallway shadow person, if that makes sense, the one that's bound temporarily currently to the physical, I don't think they even really acknowledged you in that manner, right? They're just going about their business in their space, and you happen to observe. So like there's no ill intent towards you. So there was never this sense of fear, if that makes sense. But two different energies, female God stepping in to kind of just block you from the potential empathy overload from a random energy just kind of cruising through your space.
Mm. Okay, well, mine was totally different. Mine was totally different. So I got two. I got more than one, but there was one, and what Jason's description said kind of feeds into what I picked up. It wasn't somebody present to oversee or to guide. It was somebody bound, somebody there who was maybe bound to the house, I don't know, but something happened with that particular spirit who was there, not necessarily good. And then there was another presence there. I got a grandfatherly, like a grandparent type presence there to oversee, to guide in that way. That's what I was able to pick up.
All right. Anything else from you, Miss Lynda? Did you get anything else? And if not, that's totally grand.
No, I'm not always aware what the pendulum is doing as people talk. So you may, any of you may want to actually, go back and look and see. I don't know how easy it is for you to see it on here.
I think we're okay.
When you get 4 different responses, but there are things within each one of the responses that are the same, that's what I would pay attention to, right? Like some of the fine print, small details may be different because we're all interpreting it, different energy in different ways. But when things overlap and you hear the same thing mentioned more than once, those are the things that I would take note of.
And to also watch your own heart, and does your heart expand or contract? Like, what's your energy field do when you hear it? Because you are your own barometer. I think Angela embodies that really well. Her own body is a barometer. So, pay attention to your heart, pay attention to your breath, your abdomen, your solar plexus, and see what your body's doing, because your body is the ultimate, lie detector. All right. Is it cool to go to the next question? Okay. So this is from Jen Armstrong. Was the wormhole I experienced an abduction attempt, as I did not create it? So again, I'll repeat that. Jen Armstrong, was the wormhole I experienced an abduction attempt, as I did not create it?
I got an immediate no.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, pendulum's absolutely a no.
I would describe it more as a portal than a wormhole. Like a in the moment natural occur. I feel like you had both experiences. I feel like there's a portal or a quote unquote wormhole experience. I also feel like there's a contactee experience. I just don't want to associate the two.
Right. There's
I feel like you had a portal experience where right timing, ley lines, solar flares, planets. I just heard like looking glass, like, you know, project looking glass type thing. That's a reference, I think, Alice in Wonderland, right? Through the looking glass. And I also feel like there has been experiencer things that have happened.
I'll show you the card I got here. It's really, it's this big love heart. My sense is that whatever was in that experience of whatever was reaching out to you was a part of you, a mirror aspect, saying hello. And it sounds like everyone's picking up that you've had multiple experiences. With different things, but I'll just say that what I can feel with this one feels like just a higher version of you that is ship related or like what we call ship bound, kind of checking in to see how her little sister is, her self aspect is doing, and there being like what you're reaching out to is reaching back to you. It does feel like there's an opening that goes both ways. And I'll just leave it with that. Anything else from all y'all?
I feel like she's
just
in
want to
active
verify
communication.
something. Go ahead.
I just feel like I feel like she's in active communication. Like, I feel like there's this telepathic communication, almost a channeling, or downloading of information that is currently happening with her and these beings that keep interacting with her.
And what I was getting was what you're observing is your eyes and your brain trying to process something that's not to be processed at that level, like filling in the blanks, trying to make sense of something that's happening at a different level and putting it in a form for you to, I guess, make sense of it. Control the experience.
Kind of like contain the experiences. It seems so otherly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as the wormholes go, I get that that's more of a memory. That's something that was carried into this incarnation, like prior even to incarnating on Earth. It's a memory that's held. Yeah.
I love that you said that because of like the looking glass reference.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like seeing and like seeing like a memory, like through the other side of. Love that you said that.
All right, I'm going to pop into the next question. Leisha Howland. I say with excitement because she's one of our regulars.
She's been waiting from the beginning.
Leisha, so Leisha Howland asks, wondering if my guides have any words of wisdom to share. So very open. Leisha is just wanting.
Alicia?
Leisha, Litia. It took us forever to figure out for her to teach us how to say her name. Latia? No, it's just Leisha. Just say Leisha. Leisha Howland wondering if my guides have any words of wisdom to share.
I heard slow down real loud. Like pump the brakes. Slow down. I hate giving generic woo-woo answers, like fortune cookie answers. But sometimes it's just the best way to get it. I feel like I need to slow down, pump the brakes, like take a minute. I almost feel like I feel like my energy is always in overdrive. Even if it looks like even if the waters look calm, that engine in that boat is in overdrive, trying to keep me level or balanced. There's a reference to slow down, take time for yourself. I really am like, it's like they're just flashing this like stop, like red lights, like stop, slow down. I don't know how to say that.
I'm hearing get centered, get centered, get in your heart, get centered, and allow that to give you a foundation on which to stand to speak your truth. You got to embody speaking your truth. There's hold it back.
I feel like I'm physically creating a misalignment in my health because of like my thoughts and my actions. So whether that's a cold or you know, just, I don't know. I feel like that's why I'm on this stop thing. Like look, I am not a medical doctor, okay, but I am also not gonna not say something if I feel it. Okay. I feel like there is it would warrant you to just, you know, be mindful of. This is not, you know, you're going to wake up on tomorrow cold. Like, I'm not saying that. But it's like this, if we don't stop our actions and stop that mindset, we're going to create an issue that we're gonna end up having to deal with when it could be avoidable if we just take small steps back. It's almost like right now it's just kind of aggravated, right? Like I'm going to use the example of like when you hurt your back, you know, like you wake up first thing in the morning, you're like, oh, I slept a little wrong. But it's, you know, you can deal with it. Like you don't really feel it all the time. And then halfway through the day, you forget to be cautious and you bend over and you pick something up that's too heavy. And now you have inflamed it. And it's more pain. I'm in this inflammation stage. That I just want to be mindful of because it is we're totally able to de-escalate. So they are saying stop, take a moment for yourself, put yourself first, do what you need to do, whether it's, you know, a couple of minutes, a couple of times a day, like to find something to get that center that Angela was talking about.
And I have was pressed to pull a card. So when I get a card that's upside down, this is actually rejoice in celebration. And it's 3 people holding cups up, celebrating, cheers. And what it's telling me is that you're not taking the time to really celebrate your accomplishments. That by not acknowledging them, it's like if your path was this way, you just bump it off center, if that makes sense. By not acknowledging, and I heard the yes, thank you, more please. Like when you have done something that you've worked hard at, that shows up, that you've accomplished, or that is, you've worked hard. And it's really important to acknowledge that. Step back, acknowledge what you've done now and in the past so that you can move forward. That recognition has to happen to move forward. And that's kind of just every day, the little yes, thank you, more please. And celebrate what you have accomplished and what you will accomplish. Take that time. And I think that's the settling in, the slowing down.
Well, there's definitely a theme here. Is it okay if I hop in, Lynda?
I'm done.
Okay. So we got this card back with the head flying off the body. And so that kind of going back into the theme of slowing back down, reconnecting to yourself, not letting your thoughts drive you. Whatever the feeling of anxiety is where you can't get enough done or you need to get enough done. If like that's old stuff. It's an old way of being. And what I get is this card to me, you can see that it looks like a chrysalis to me, like somebody's in a chrysalis. They've got a cocoon around them. And to me, it says, again, this whole thing about going in, but it's like, meet yourself inside of yourself. Like you don't want to fly ahead of yourself and then lose what, how can you know where you're walking if your head is 10 paces ahead of you? It's not going to serve you. So coming back into yourself and being uncomfortable with inactivity, being comfortable with whatever you're feeling. If it says, I need to get up and do something, I can't, I shouldn't, like just sit with it and let that inner gestation process happen. So those old triggers of I need to, I should, can start to burn up, and your energy will be your own versus it pushing you forward. You can direct your energy. It's a different relationship to your energy. All right. Anything else? Anybody else?
I got a call for balance in the solar plexus. Balance. So that's related to diet as well. It's diet. Eating in a way that fuels you, that nurtures you. Meditation as well. Yeah.
Okay, great. Is it cool to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. So Susan Strickland, does my birth mother know who our father is? And was there anything shady that happened with our adoption? So Susan Strickland question is, does my birth mother know who our birth father is? And was there anything shady that happened in our adoption?
I will tell you that I have two letters that are immediately jumping out to me. I have this GW, almost like it's almost like this George Wallace. So there's like this G sound that I want to connect to, like George. There's also I don't know if it's a last name. There's a W also. It's either going to be like Wallace, William, but there's this G and this W that I want to reference first and foremost.
I'll be right back. Just real quick.
Yeah. My initial thought is, does birth mother know who father is? I have a very questionable yes.
I got a yes too.
I almost feel like what's weird is like I'm like, oh, it's one for sure, but like there's a potential, right? But yes, shady wise, when it comes to the adoption, it doesn't trigger anything in me.
No, I gotta know.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got highly likely. Let me rephrase that. She suspects that it's one of maybe two people. That there's more than one possibility. I felt confusion happening around the adoption. That I think she was really struggling with it. And that that's a really high, and I think the agency was getting frustrated with her. That's what I'm picking up. It's not that there was something shady, it's just, or off. It's just, I think she struggled with what to do and was kind of a little wishy-washy back and forth of whether I don't think it was what she really wanted, but it was what she didn't feel she could have the means of taking care of you. I think it was a very difficult situation for her. Very, very difficult.
I think it's easy to understand why you may feel as though something shady happened, because when there's a situation that's almost like a secret that people don't really actively talk about, that's already kind of in the shadows, it already naturally has that perception of, so I can understand why we may think that way, right? But I don't see anything illegal.
No.
Okay, I'll just show the picture I got. It's actually really quite beautiful. It's a big heart happening with two people in love. So to me, it feels like the original connection between the parents was something beautiful and something sincere. So if something happened afterwards where it was not in the best interest, this was not going to work out, it was going to be too much. Decisions were made that were for everyone's best interest that really, didn't consider the kids, because it wasn't about the kids at that moment. It's about them taking care of themselves the best ways they could. But it feels like there was a seed of genuine love and connection there, and at the time of inception. So I hope that is something helpful.
And I love that card because it's showing two people looking at each other in the eye, right? So it's like, I obviously know who you are. We're this close. I'm looking at you, right? Like,
it feels like a genuine heart connection. At that time, that's the strongest feeling I can get. So hopefully, knowing that there was a love generation between the two parents, that is something to take with you, because that doesn't happen for everybody. So it's a beautiful vibration to start your incarnation with, even if the rest of it got rocky.
I almost feel like if I'm putting myself in mom's shoes, I almost feel like I can't openly share who baby daddy is. So therefore, even though I know who this person is, it's caused speculation because I wasn't it's like I wasn't able to say, because I couldn't, because of my circle or my situation. It's like it's almost like an oil and water type thing. Like something didn't mix right. So it has turned into this other people's perception as oh, she slept around, she doesn't know who the father is. And when in fact it's more like I know who the father is, but I can't, for whatever reason, something is preventing me from being like, this is the person.
Yeah, I feel that too.
It's protection. Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah.
All right, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, Crystal Chick asks, so thank you everyone. Also, I just want to say thanks to all of you, Jason, Lynda, and Angela, for being here and doing this. It's lovely. So thank you. I want to acknowledge you for showing up with your gifts.
I love doing it.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
It's fun.
I'd like to see feedback from everyone of whether they'd like us to do this.
Oh, it's there. It's there.
Is it there? Okay.
Yeah. And I want to thank everyone who's showing up today and
make sure we don't miss Nancy. I have a question if she hasn't come up with one.
Okay. All right. So right now we got Crystal Chick, and she says, am I in the right career? Thank you. So Crystal Chick asks, am I in the right career?
I have a full-on conversation going on in my head. to where someone is like, well, if you're asking the question, that typically means that you're not happy with. They're trying to be a smart ass. Okay, so this first energy,
Yeah.
I feel like these are both male energies, but this first one is younger. I do not think this is a family relation. This is an energy that's connected to her, with here and there, right? He is very much like, well, if you're asking a question about it, typically that means that you're not really happy. But then the second part of his conversation comes in and says, but he's making it seem like those are my thoughts. And then he says, but Jason, sometimes people are just looking for validation to know that they are in the right place. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're looking for an escape. So this feels like, yes, it is. Now I'm like, if I was a judge on America's Got Talent, I would be like, this is a yes for me.
This is a yes, and really the question is, where am I where I'm supposed to be?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, where am I where I'm supposed to be, and where you are is where you're supposed to be. That is the response that I give.
And I was getting, when it goes into different circles, one's usually you're asking the wrong question, or not to be known at this point, or not. What I was getting is that, like, the shift is, if there's a shift, it's not at this point. So I think that there's more questions to ask, like, are there other opportunities? What else is possible? And that could be within the same company, the same job, or, you know, different job within the same company. But I don't feel a shift happening immediately. The circle it was going is usually related to time. So it may be that the moment it's the right place, and that there will be a time in I haven't gotten the time period, but where you will see additional opportunities, and then there will be choices to be made. Like, it just takes you being open to them. But this is a place where this is like a jumping off point. A place for opportunities. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I feel like I have to name drop. I don't want to, and I'm not sure what I can or can't say, but I'm totally doing it for this. So I have this young male energy that steps forward. He's popular on some of these channels. His name is Eric, ERIK. That energy is very much stepping forward. I think he's the one that's kind of being the smart ass. If you're not familiar, he will make his way to you and will make himself known to you. But his energy feels very prevalent around you. And then I had two different thoughts. I had the name Jonesy, and the impression of Star Being. I'm not sure what they look like because they have not shown themselves to me, but they're stepping forward. The energy is at least kind of stepping forward and making itself known for you. So there's Eric, who is in spirit, Eric with a K. And then there's this Star Being is the way that they refer to themselves. Typically, I call them Galactics, but they said Star Being, and the name Jonesy. So I know that I haven't been like, yeah, and they look like this because they just haven't. I don't know, right? They haven't told me. But I feel like I want to encourage the participation in reaching out to. You have a name now, right? You have a name, and you have at least somewhat that it's it's not someone of our planet, right? It's another energy out there to reach out to, so they can start building that relationship and reaching out to you.
I will hop in. So again, third time I've got this card, there seems to be a theme here of our heads getting ahead of us and running away with the mind and running away with the thinking. And so it feels like there's a bit of over-analyzation. It feels like sometimes you're critical of yourself, that you're not doing enough, and if I should be doing something different, something better. There's always this thing of like, is this enough? Is this enough? And the other card I drew in follow-up with that, it's like this almost a mirror pool, like the sky, or you could hold it this way maybe and see a face looking down, or across and there's another face. The way that I'm vibing on this currently is like, this is you up here, this is the universe, and it's the void. It's also a mirror at the same time, and you're looking, saying, you know, what should I be doing? And it's rising up saying, what would you like to be doing? And it's sort of like giving you the permission to be happy where you are if you want to be, or if you want to create something different, you can. You've got this beautiful light energy in the heart. You can see that there. She's got heart energy there. And it's like you're already serving, you're already aiming to serve. So don't think so much, enjoy where you're at, and the next thing will open when it does. All right, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, for everybody, for most people who come on to ask questions, it's like I'm clearing the heart. I'm clearing the heart for everybody. And this is the same, it's no different, but there's a call here to go within, to get centered in the heart through meditation. If you don't have a meditation practice, to start a meditation practice, or just that opportunity to take that deep intentional inhale and focus yourself inward, to focus, because in that heart space, you'll start to gain clarity of focus. And that's what you are looking to acquire, is clarity of focus in order to know where your next steps are. Because like I said, there seems to be a call to, is this where I'm supposed to be? Am I where I'm supposed to be? And there's knowing in the heart. So getting it in that heart space and allowing yourself to move from that heart-centered space, you'll wind up exactly where you're supposed to be. Even if you believe you're not where you're supposed to be, you are where you are supposed to be in every now moment. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. And whether you choose to take the long route or the short route from this point, in every decision you make from this point, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You're either taking the shortcut or the scenic route, but neither one is wrong. They are what you need in the moment. So trust where you are in the moment.
You know, I think that anytime you have the clarity to ask yourself, am I in the right place? Like, am I on the right path? Like, typically people that aren't asking themselves those questions, right? Like, people that aren't on the journey and people that aren't engaging in that awareness, they don't think about things like that. So the simple fact that your concern is that, right, because that's a want to do great things for the world, the planet, the future, for, you know, humankind, whoever, like, it shows a pureness in an individual, right? That selflessness of just wanting to make things better any way that we can. So note to self, for everyone out there, if you are ever questioning that, the single fact that you questioned it is an absolute resounding yes, you are. Like Angela said, whether you're running a marathon, you know, or you're just hiking through, enjoying the scenery, there is no wrong time or timing. Like, you are where you are supposed to be. And just the act of your conscious or subconscious self bringing that up and engaging yourself with it is an absolute resounding yes.
I'm going to hop in. I'm going to share a link real quick. It's when we were talking to Kevin. I'm blanking on his name now. That's great.
Australia?
No, Kevin. It's called. Is our local friend Kevin. Anyway, it was about Lockwood. Thank you, Lynda, for saving me. It was about, one of the questions was, how do I know when I should quit my job? How do I know when I should do that? And he gave some really practical insight in terms of asking specific questions and to yourself, and then also performing, like giving yourself a year's commitment to be the best you can be at that job. Give yourself a full year and just excel in every way you possibly can, as opposed to like, you know, kind of making yourself smaller or getting cranky because you don't want to be there. Like excel, and then at that point, at the year's point, if you're meant to leave, you'll be excelling to the next one. If you're meant to stay, you're going to be you'll be in a great position. So
Yeah.
And I
Totally.
just heard something. I heard expose your talents. So this is something.
Yes.
sorry, that's just what immediately came to mind. I can't
Not
help it.
those.
Thank you, Jason.
No, I mean,
Jason's got
expose
my vibe.
the get out of the gutter so I can swim by. So, but that there's an opportunity that wherever you are, those talents that you have, that's what, if you can find a way to bring that, those gifts that you were brought here with, that you are cultivating, that you are exploring, no matter where you are, you're going to find joy. And that's also what brings the opportunity.
That's true. When you're in a good vibe, it opens up those doors.
I also want to say this. I had this moment earlier today to where I had this, I kind of had this random thought, and I think it really kind of applies here. I had a friend that was asking for prayer requests for their mother, right? So of course, I'm like, absolutely, yes, you got it, on their way. But then I had this internal dialogue of, okay, we ask for these prayers and then that's it. They're like, why don't you collect them? And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, well, for example, you put something on Facebook asking for prayers, right? For whatever the situation is. Do you ever put a post saying prayers collected? Do you ever put an action into collecting those things that you've asked for? So like so they gave me this image of like Scrooge McDuck swimming in all this money because there's all this uncollected prayer energy that because we have not either symbolically or mentally or in a physical expression, we haven't collected on. And a lot of times we're like, oh, well, I asked for help with this situation and nothing ever happened. Well, who's to say that you didn't get all this energy sent to you? You just didn't collect it and make it do what you asked it to do. So I had this thought today and I was like, holy shit, I was like, I need to write a book. But then I was like, oh, you know what? If you can put your hands together or close your eyes or just look at this tree and you can pray in 5 seconds, you can ask for assistance in this and this. Why don't you start doing the same thing and say, I've come to collect, or, you know, or, hey, the thought of, hey, bills due, write me my check.
Yeah.
Like, we put into practice asking for, but we don't put into practice the receiving portion. So it's like, I feel like we just have all this potential. It's almost like manifesting, right? The potential's there. We just don't, we're not coming to collect on it. So set time aside to collect.
Instead of being passive and saying, okay, where is it
It'll come to me
at?
when it's supposed to, yeah.
Receive and say, it's here now, so now I receive it.
Hey,
and
I'm
be
collecting
active in the receiving as opposed to passive, externally looking for it.
Today is payday. Thank you for this energy. It's going to do this for me.
I'm listening, Jason. That was for me.
I'll be back next week to collect on the other part that's come in.
So I'm going to tell you guys this little story because it kind of piggybacks on that.
Now we are at the top of the hour, real quick. We're at 7. I'm cool to hang out longer.
Okay.
Are you cool to hang out longer? Because I'm having a blast.
I'll hang because I've got a question for Nancy. So
okay. So I do this in my meditations. It's part of my practice where I allow myself to receive. There are moments, and I can viscerally feel it when I receive love in that way. When I am sitting here and a presence enters my space, I always ask, what have you come to show me? What have you come to bring me? I always ask those questions. I ask first if they are of love and of the Christ consciousness. That's the first question. And once I have a response, I ask, what have you come to bring? What have you come to show me? Have you come to share a message? And sometimes they say no to all those things. They say, I've just come to share love. And then in that moment, I can allow myself to receive, and I can feel that download of just the frequency of love. So it's a practice. It's getting into the habit of knowing that when people send you their prayers and their love, because moms do this all the time for children, pray for their kids and all those sorts of things. When that happens, there is literally a package of energy sent your way instantaneously that you are at liberty to receive, but you have to sometimes be open to receive it, because if you have a blocked heart, then you are blocking yourself from all that energy that is flowing towards you. But as you open it up and as you consciously ask and set yourself into a space of receipt, then you can feel that energy flowing through you. And it is a energetic upload, like better than coffee, an uplift. Yeah, it's like a jolt of energy that you are able to receive and viscerally feel. Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, I'm going to get
Coffee.
Nancy's in.
Oh, well, but let's keep going for a while though, eh? Do you want to hang out for a while? Can you hang out for a while, or do you have to go, Lynda?
Well,
Tomorrow's
I'm
a
gonna
holiday. We don't have to
get
work.
Nancy's in.
Well,
We'll keep going. I don't know how many more we have, but I
we
can
have
I
a
say
few.
one thing and then we go to Nancy, because it kind of piggybacks on what Angela was saying.
Okay.
I love when she was talking about how she asked, well, what did you bring?
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes it's information. Sometimes it's love. It may be a healing. It may be a downgrade, or, upload, or whatever you call it. Upgrade. I'm trying, but I have heard of people that do this work, and they have an agreement, because we can all make agreements, right? Hey, okay, I'll do this work, but if I'm going to do that, I need this, right? Like, she says, you have to leave me better than I was before you got here.
Yeah.
So like when she's engaging with an energy, the deal is that they will leave her physical body better when they're done with it than where she was, prior to.
Yeah. That's called establishing a protocol. You are in control. You are the captain of the ship. So you set the tone for how you interact with the world. This is your world. You are creating it as you go along. So you establish the criteria for yourself. That's part of being a deliberate creator. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, go get Nancy's question.
Okay. After meditation, Nancy is starting to see like a popcorn butter yellow in a very modeled, loose, almost like beehive pattern when she comes out of it. And she would like to have more information about that. What is she seeing?
The grid. Yeah, she's seeing the grid. Everything is energy. Everything is geometric. We function in geometries. We live out geometries, geometric patterns. And so she is seeing one of those established before her eyes. I once woke up in the middle of the night and I had a magenta geometry above my head. And I thought I was seeing things until I allowed myself to really focus on it. But it was one of the, what is it called? Sacred geometries that had revealed itself in front of my eyes. It's a similar thing. She's just able to see the grid. The grid is ever present. We just aren't able to visually, under normal circumstances, see it, but it is ever present. And so she's after that, or right out of that meditative state, she's in that sweet spot where she can just see it visually. Yeah.
And I'm gonna
just to piggyback on that, like here's this woman in meditation, there's this butter gold, like in their leaves, but like this, it's floating above her. It also seems to be coming out of her heart. So I wonder if it's she's seeing it through her heart chakra, and that's why she's able to see it, because she's still perceiving differently while in that deep meditative state. But I just thought, I pulled up, but while the question was being asked, so I just thought it was a really great reflection.
I love
ahead,
when
Jane.
those type things happen. Like that. I don't want to say coincidence, because that is not what is it? Symmetry? What do they call it? Is it like
Synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
Like stuff just ties together like that. I have a similar response to Angela, but it's kind of different. I think it's just our verbiage. Like she says the grid, I'm thinking like matrix dimension, like and the colors have different vibrations. Like Angela saw this purpley color. Like I've had experience where I've had like this blue-green pattern that was on the wall, but it also went through the room. Like I could see the pattern. I could see it projected on the walls of my room, but yet it also existed beyond the walls of my room, if that makes sense. All the same kind of but I understand, or my understanding of that situation was that was a certain frequency because of the color value, right? Like light, different colors have different vibrations, right? Wait, that's science, I'm pretty sure. The fact that she's got the yellow, whatever yellow means, I don't know. I don't have the answers to the universe, but definitely tuning into a frequency, a certain frequency of this dimension or this grid, this matrix, and this other energetic place that is on top of our place, but it's just at a different buzz. Buzz, get it, honey? Buzz. It would have been funnier if I hadn't had to explain it. But yeah, that's my take on it.
I like all that.
I also just got this random image of a Pegasus.
I'm going to let Angela continue with what she's doing before I answer.
Yeah. Just an energetic acknowledgement is what they're offering.
And Nancy, since you asked me that question, and I'll reveal now that I've seen this for a long time, that whenever I'm in the shower, I see this around the entire bathtub, the shower, and used to drive me nuts. Thought there was something wrong with my eyes. And then I did all of the, process of elimination to make sure it wasn't something else. And I didn't know what it was. And we've had this conversation. And as I asked it for Nancy, what I came up with were both the grid, triple grid, matrix, frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you tend to see it more when the sun is out?
Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Lights can be on, lights can be off. Sun is there, not there.
You're seeing that externally, not in your mind's eye, but through
I'm seeing it externally.
Okay.
Yeah, physically seeing it.
That's great.
And it's a mottled popcorn butter, almost not quite beehivey. It's more.
It sounds delicious.
Fluid.
The more you talk about it, the more I want to try some.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that people are seeing the matrix, because I've had my own experiences with that. But it's
like
nice
in a
to know
way,
that
it's kind of like what's behind me.
Yeah.
If the lines were all the
symmetrical.
popcorn.
Okay.
Yeah. But a little bit more formed.
More like they'd be more
formed,
specific.
Just not coming at an angle, but just that little, not quite completely beehive, but really close.
I think there will be a time where, because I know that there are some of our star family that are already capable of doing this. And like, let's say like instant manifestation, right? So the way that they've explained this to me is they take those grid lines, right? I can see this. I can see the grid. Well, if I can see it, why can't I touch it? Right? So why can't I grab this and manipulate or turn this energy point or this contact point? Why can't I take that energy and then just turn it into something else? So like this instant manifested, like on these 5D, 6D worlds where it's just like milkshake, bam, it's right here in front of me. It's not just the act of envisioning it, it is the act of creating it. And they're like the precursor to the instant. Just thinking is actually it's like a manipulation, we interact with a physical interaction with an energy to turn it into something else. So it's like by making the contact, like the thought, like a circuit breaker, right? Like the thought connects to the energy point, it then transforms. Like it's very, you know what they're showing me? Like Shakespeare, the fates, how they can reach into the web and they could pull someone's string. It's like that. But I mean, we're not talking about someone's life, but like that's the visual representation of like grabbing an energy point, and then turning it or shifting it into something else.
And as you were saying that, I don't know how many times I've wanted to reach out and pull it off.
Do it next time, Lynda. Do it.
And the image I get is, for those of us that are old enough, playing with yarn and making different shapes. Yeah, making the shapes with those strands. Like it's a string of strands and manipulating it. That's what I've always had, this urge to pull and just play.
They talk about how
Nancy, pull and play.
Disclosure is happening on movies and TV shows all the time, right? Well, then when you look at like all these Marvel movies and all the sorcerers that are able to create, are their hands just glowing, or are their hands glowing with geometrical patterns that are rotating and moving, and then joining with a second one that comes up and creates something else, and then joining with a third one, and they may be different shapes, they may be different sizes, they may be different colors, but it's the building upon different energies to create the one outcome.
This is what I feel like I do when I meditate. So I'm in motion when I meditate, and I'm moving and I'm grabbing things out of the air. There is an artist named Kimora Jones who paints galactic, really galactic images. And the way that she draws is the way that I see myself in my mind's eye while I meditate. I even had to contact her because I told her I felt like she was drawing me. And the geometries that she draws are what I feel like I grab, because I can feel when I grab in the air, I can feel the energies that I grab, and it's like I'm bringing them back to myself. And sometimes I take those and I know that I'm forming them, and I mix them up like this. That's the only thing I can say is that I mix them up and I put them within my field. And when I do put them in my field, I can feel that. So it's like manifesting, creating in the etheric plane and allowing that to become in the physical plane. Yeah. I think that's a real thing. We just have to get there collectively where we can know it consciously. Yeah.
All right, y'all want to keep going for another 7:30, 6:30 at the end of the
15 minutes.
15 minutes is okay.
15 minutes.
All right. I want to respect people's boundaries. Okay, so thank you. That was fantastic. I think that's great content. All right, Shayna Vorhauer. I apologize if I mangled that. Shayna Vorhauer. Do the guides or my guides, which I think my mom is a part of, have something they want to tell me right now? If that isn't specific enough, do you see my anxiety getting under control soon? So let's read it again. Do my guides, which I think my mom is a part of, have something they want to tell me right now? if do you see my anxiety getting under control soon? Again, this is Shayna Vorhauer, to the best of my pronunciation.
I'll jump in. First and foremost, I do want to say that my personal belief is that typically our family members are not our gods. That does not mean that they are not kicking ass up there doing 1,000 miles a minute working for us. But that's because they're our loved one, right? They want to see us succeed. So a lot of times family members that have transitioned are not technically one of our guides. However, they are, obviously this energy that loves us and wants to help us. When we talk, so absolutely, is she around? Is she helping? Yes, 1,000%. But you have other guides that are also around. It's like we want her to be in charge, right? Because she's our mom and we love her and she was awesome. But they're like, she's not running the show. We listen to her. We take her advice, but we made the agreement to help you. Anxiety wise, they said overstimulated. This is energetically in your physical response. This is going to go to the empathy, the empath. And I hate when people are always like, you're an empath, that's why you feel this way. But that's what's going on with you, in conjunction with something that you are putting in your body that is causing the nervous system. It's like almost, I don't know if you're a heavy coffee drinker or if this is a caffeine thing, but there's this overstimulation. Not only sensitivity to energy, not only is there this energetic sensitivity being around certain people, certain situations, certain places, there's also something that I'm ingesting that is causing like my nervous system fight or flight. Like I've got to run. It's like an adrenaline rush. It's what it feels like to me. Like I've got this this fight or flight of shit, like something's about to happen. What am I going to do? I'm fight or flight, and that's what's causing the anxiety. So how do we fix that, right? Sometimes what can we do? Because me just being, oh, this is why, that doesn't help, right? Evaluate what it is or what it potentially could be that you're ingesting that's causing the jitters, the energetic surge is what it feels like. Almost like when a kid eats a whole bunch of sugar before they crash, they're like, candy. It's this feeling. So an easy way to do that is every day eliminate one item, right? And so let's say if you're a coffee drinker, don't drink coffee one day, drink water instead. At the end of the day, did you notice a change? If not, then you can reintroduce coffee to the next day and just remove something else. Like keep removing something until you feel the physical shift in your body. Now, when it comes to protecting yourself energetically, there's tons of shit online where you can look up meditations. One of my go-to outside of white light is imagining a circle of mirrors with the mirrors facing outward. That way, anything that's reflected on me bounces back. And I typically will put that in white, just so you have that practice of that bouncing back the energy. Also, grounding is great. Put your feet on some grass, once a day, even if it's just for 2 minutes, just to kind of clear out. I swear I just saw some man standing over here next to me in the corner in the shadow. Trench coat ish, like this light leathery yellowy leather color, match very Dick Tracy, but not yellow, but a light leather, right? Like the matching hat to the matching jacket. But that should help with the anxiety.
That was the investigate. I was getting investigate as you were saying, right
the
before
Dick
you
Tracy,
said that,
the detective.
investigate. Yeah. I actually, first thing I got was center food. And so I asked if there was an allergy, and I didn't get allergy. I kept hearing sensitivity. So what I was picking up is observe what you're eating and how you feel. And I also got, there's a delayed response. So it's a little hard to track. So Jason's,
So maybe
and
leave
I'm
it out
hearing
for a
more
week.
than one day. Like I'm
Maybe a
hearing more
week?
than one day. Like I'm hearing 3. So 3 days is what it's going to take to really be able to tell what that might be. And
I almost feel
there's
like there's
more than one
something.
thing.
I'm so sorry. I almost feel like there's something I'm taking for my hair, nails, and skin. That's what I want to focus on. I feel like there's like a vitamin. I am not a doctor. Disclaimer. But I feel like there's something that I'm taking for my, like a collagen type for my hair, nails, and skin, birth control. It's something like this. I feel like that is not helping the situation, that I maybe interacts with whatever the normal day thing where she's like, how am I allergic to this, or how am I sensitive to this? I've always had this and have never had a problem. It's like this chemical equation plus this chemical equation equals this chemical equation on top of the energetic assault that you feel because we're not protecting ourselves.
So I'm getting that, like the almost like a burping, that it's hard to digest whatever is coming in as well. And when you have that feeling, that's also right in the pit of your stomach where you tend to feel anxiety. It's up here and this tract right here. And so it may also be physically triggering that anxiety of not your body saying, I'm not able to digest this. So if you use a pendulum, that may be a way of doing it, or kinesiology, working with someone who does either of those to help kind of identify that. But if you don't do that, then the elimination. But I am getting there's more than one thing.
When you're always able to, I feel like if you're able to, like an allergy test, like do you think that would help because they screen you for multiple things?
I'm not getting, I think she'll test negative for allergies. I'm getting that there's a sensitivity, which is that's a different, you could do testing, and if it came out negative, then it's a sensitivity. But if you do the elimination, which is what they're going to tell you, I've been through all that, eliminate things and just keep eliminating and start adding them back in after a while. And I know that sucks, but I've had to do that before. Angela?
So what I have is deeper than that. It's a imbalance in the root chakra. And because there's an imbalance in the root chakra, it's causing all of the discombobulation with everything above it. So there's an inability for the system to digest life because there has not been established a feeling of safety and a feeling of groundedness and rootedness to being present within the physical plane. So you have to get grounded. So a way of doing that is connecting with nature. I won't say eliminate everything all at once because that would be too much of a shock to the system. So connecting with nature, just getting out, taking a walk. If you can get out and just take a 10 to 15 minute walk slowly every day, and in that walk, you are allowing yourself to take some deep breaths and just to see, observe, connect with, breathe in deeply, just inhale nature. Take a walk in nature or go out and just sit on the ground and just allow yourself to be and take in the scenery. Just soak up and feel. Allow yourself to establish that connectedness with the earth, establish a sense of safety, a sense of well-being, a sense of peace with the surroundings. Within that, once that's established, then that will start to have an influence on what you desire to intake. So it may even level out your desire for those things that are not optimal for your system. That will start to feed your desire, because you'll be more in tune, number one, with your body and with the nature. So you'll be able to hear what your body needs when it needs it versus what you think it needs to have, versus what you think it needs to have. Because coffee is a thing you think you need to have. It's not a necessity that your body necessarily wants or needs to have to function optimally. So groundedness is first. That's what I'm hearing the call is. It's throwing off the balance with everything up the chain, the chakras up the chain. You have to keep the chakras in balance. And the first place to start in this case is with the root chakra, establishing a sense of safety, a sense of well-being, a sense of peace with being present within the physical plane. Yeah.
And I'm getting a double C confirmation on that, just so you know.
Nice. This card again. So the same card. And for me, what I feel for in this card this time with you is that you take in so much energy that it's not comfortable for you to be in your body at a certain point. Like at a certain point, you're so uncomfortable in your body that you kind of project out because it's just not a place where you feel like it's safe to be, which I think anchors on what Angela's saying with the root chakra. So you try to project out of your body, and it feels like you do certain things to address the anxiety, and it's like, okay, I got the anxiety handled here, but then it springs up someplace else again. So it's again, it's not approaching it systemically isn't going to be as effective. The card that I pulled after that. So I think it's interesting how everyone's been talking about ingestion, and then there's something inside of this, person's mouth that you could see it that way, that they're taking it in. The way that I also feel for this card really is that you take in a lot for other people, and you try to regulate it for other people. And it feels like there's some things it would be good for you to do that empathic trick or bit of wisdom where you ask, is this mine? And like, is this anger mine? If it's not, you can spit it out. You can start to release, verbally ask, is this pain mine? Is this part of this anxiety mine? Because even if you're as you're dealing with getting safer in your body, you still need to clean your house. Because a lot of times we'll start to carry other people's emotions because we don't want to feel lonely. And we also feel like it's our job to carry it and not leave that person alone in their pain. And so for you to start to clean your house and no longer try to be a good friend and manage other people's emotions by holding it with them is going to give you the ability to come back into your body, because you don't have to take care of everybody that way. All right, that is what I've got. We are at time. So with that, I'll go ahead and lead us out. Well, let's just do this. Jason, what would you like to leave our audience with today?
I wish the secrets to the universe, but I don't really know that. I'm still working on those myself at the moment. I would want to say thank you. Thank you for engaging in. Thank you for trusting. Right. And I mean, thinking at least somewhat highly enough of us to trust what our response would be to your questions. Right. I mean, I don't take it lightly. Right. When I'm engaging with someone and they're giving me the opportunity to share. So thank you for your participation. I know that this is not going to be the last time that this type of thing happens. What's weird is I can see it. I almost feel like there's more people that are going to join us, and I can see it shifting with the participants, like these roundtable type things. But it's going to be more people. There's at least 8 total, at minimum, at least 4 more people that would pop in engage. Who knows? Maybe one of you that are watching. That's what happened to me. You know, I mean, I watched. I mean, you know, you had me on, and then I was like, hey, you know, I feel like there's an expanse in this type of thing. So thank you for being here, and thank you for letting myself and my wonderful group of peers share with you today.
And I want to say thank you, Jason. First, thank you so much. And then I also want to say I apologize if we couldn't get to your questions or more that came in. But yeah, let us know if you want us to keep doing this. If you're like, you know, I'd love to be able to come back with my question, or yeah, please, you know, I think Jason's onto something. He's picking up right. Like, give us some feedback.
And if we didn't get to the question, I'm not going to make promises. But if you post them in the YouTube chat or on the
the Book of Faces?
Facebook page, yeah. When you post the video on Facebook, if you post your question in the comments, I will try to look at some of them, and if I feel drawn to answer, I'll reply.
Okay. Okay. Well, so you 50-50 shot Facebook group. Yeah. All right, Ms. Angela, what were your words from your heart to ours?
My words, our words would be, number one, realizing that everything that you've seen take place on this screen and this forum, you are able to do as well. All of it. It's just a matter of belief. Number one, getting tapped in, understanding that you are more than this physical vessel. You are that which animates, permeates, and enfolds this physical vessel. You are the captain of the ship. You dictate what this physical vessel does and experiences. You have the right to drive that. So remembering those facts, number one, life is not hard. We have a tendency to just make it hard by getting caught in the mundane details of every day, but we have the ability to rise up and see ourselves from an ascended perspective. And in that vein, we release the bounds. We release the limits by which we are free to operate. The labels that we choose to adopt and attach to ourselves carry within them our definition of what those labels are. And in as much as we are able to release the labels, then we release the bounds on our ability to be and to create as the deliberate creators that we truly are, allowing ourselves to embody our ability to deliberately create our experience. So remember those things, and they will make life so much easier. And I will say, as Jason said, thank you for entrusting us with your questions, being open to the responses that you receive, because in every case you've received 4 different perspectives on your query, and you are able to summarize those, consolidate those, take what sticks. As someone says, eat the meat, throw the bones away. You know, take what serves and throw away the rest. And thank you for allowing us to operate within this forum. And I hope it's something we'll be able to do more of, because I think it's beneficial. Yeah.
I want to just say I've really enjoyed this. It feels like the connection was so much bigger than the 4 of us, that every one of you was connected in with this and processing with everyone else and bringing to light the messages with everyone else, a collective effort. And what I heard when we were doing that was, you saw the picture, it's in your hands. Like where you go, the direction you go is in your hands. And I also saw an image of someone creating a pot from, clay, a pot. And that we all have this pot that we're creating, and we choose the shape of the vessel, and we choose how we decorate that vessel, and it's individual to each of us. And that vessel is what we're carrying through our life. And so molding it and bringing it forward, and that we can create many vessels, but there's a main vessel in us that is constantly being adjusted by us here and now. And so it's like the clay never really forms a hardness. we're playing with it and creating that vessel, and we can paint it and repaint it and move things within it, because it's how we are manifesting our creativity.
Thank you. Angela's still clearing the energy.
Okay. My team wants to offer a blessing, if that's okay. If we have just a few minutes for that.
Yeah. Okay. Go for it.
Okay. Yesuru ande kai isuru ande soa. Ra isuru ande kai soa. Re o te ande so re a tu yete arum de kai sotoa. Ra isure atunde asura ai re o shetandu sea. Re tu asorua. Ferute asondo re asutua esande shoa ra use. Brasando shea retu ratu ase. Randu she doa redua asate.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
I totally had this imagery that started off as a yellow background with orange symbols, and then that turned into fire. It then showed me like rain and smoke, and then new life, like vegetation, new life. So it was like fire, the rain, the water, like showing the progress, like these storms these things happen naturally. We come around, like we're gonna take care of it, we're gonna put out those problems, and then there's the rebirth, right? But it was really interesting the way that the picture show kind of started in my head. And there's got to be, every time I feel like I hear you speak light language, my first thought is the pyramids. There's this Egyptian energy or subnotes, or there's something, like, even if, let's say, the light language is like this giant soup, and like, you put a pinch of nutmeg, it's like the Egyptian is the nutmeg, like that spice is in there, in that mix somewhere. Beautiful. Thank you. And look, when you were doing it, I was like, I am choosing to receive this right now. Right? Like I'm collecting it. I'm collecting it right now. It's not going anywhere. I'm receiving it. I'm collecting it. So thank you for that.
Nice. All right. Thank you, Miss Angela. I'm gonna hop in with my little heart thingy, and then we're gonna wrap it up, because I know that we're over. And this was the card that I'll show that I picked while you guys were talking about that. There's somebody dipping into the light language, maybe. So I thought that was really beautiful. So all right, so my heart to yours, everybody, is I appreciate you so much. I put on our little dog and pony show every week, and we show up with open hearts, and we show up here to serve, and you show up with us, and it means so much to have genuine community to me. And I'm so happy and thrilled that you're a part of it. And please extend the word and our content to those that you think would resonate. People who are respectful. We don't call each other names. We don't attack each other. We try to, again, to be all the angles and look at it from every angle and respect everybody in their journey. So bring your heart to ours, and join us in the Facebook group. Join us here, and join others with us, so we can keep expanding and growing this community. And again,
happy 400 members.
Oh, and happy 400 members on Facebook. Good call out. Yeah, we hit 400 members this weekend. The strong end. So thank you for being here. And again, our donation link is down below if you want to do that. And so if you want to reach out more, work with Angela, work with any one of us, all of our content's down below. And you can get to Lynda through Third Eye Salon as well. All right. And I think with that,
Like, share, subscribe. We get
Oh,
caught
yes.
up and we forget to say that.
yeah. And also to say that next week, our guest is going to be Christopher, the Astro Medium. So he's a psychic medium who also works in astrology. And so that is going to be a super fun show. He had a full Kundalini experience as well. So we're going to get all up in his business about that. All right. Any last thoughts?
It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a blast. All right. Love you all. See you next time. Bye.